Alrighty, what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. You're watching the daily series of Nwadei MMA. Welcome back. How are you guys doing today? Are you doing well? I really hope you are. You all deserve to be doing well. I think we all deserve to be doing well a little bit, right? However, with that being said, welcome back to my channel where we give you our immediate fight reactions, post and pre-fight breakdowns, and just, chat shit about the MMA community itself. And with you guys being a part of that MMA community, I need your guys' thoughts, so please feel free to comment down below. And if you are interested in watching daily MMA content and in-depth fight analysis, then you're more than welcome to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified when more videos like this one come out in the future. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the recap of Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. Alright guys, so where do we start with this card? Alright, I guess we're gonna start with the prelims or the takeaways of this card, standing out performances, standing out fighters. And first, I feel like we should talk about Guram Kutateladze versus Elvis Brenner. It was an absolute war. Brenner ended up coming out on top, beating a very tough guy in Guram. I'm sure some of you know that he's Khamzat's teammate. He trains with some of the best in the world. He has proven that he is one of the best in the world. However, sometimes it just seems like he can't get it done through thick and thin, and that's just a part of this game. I'm sure he'll learn from it. He'll come back even stronger and he'll be back. But Elvis Brenner, man, he is a force to be reckoned with in this lightweight division. I feel like he's gonna fight probably another top 20 person before he jumps into that top 15. I feel like he needs maybe one more top 20 name under his belt, and we'll be seeing him in the top 15 very soon. Absolute war, standout performance. You gotta talk about him, right? Next, Rinat Fakhretdinov beat Kevin Lee, knocks him out, or well, hurts him, rocks him with a cross right down the pipe, 1-2. Kevin Lee was moving away from the power side, but he brought it so straight down the middle that his guard being that much separated from his face allowed that cross to sneak through, hurt him. He ends up shooting for a single leg, gets caught in a guillotine, in which I really didn't even know if he was out. I mean, the ref stepped in there when the cornerman started talking about he's out, but me as a referee, if I was in that position, I don't even know if I would have stepped in there, because honestly, it didn't even really look like he was out. I mean, I've never seen someone go out and their arms are still stiffened, their arms are still locked around the person, their arms are still, actively trying to fight off the choke while he's asleep. That was a very weird situation, but or not, he got it done, man. That was a tight guillotine. That was a really good performance. It looked like he was content to stand. He didn't want to necessarily wrestle too early on, which is a good idea going against another wrestler in Kevin Lee. He said he wanted to wrestle Kevin Lee, get him tired and stuff like that, and that's honestly a pretty good game plan going against Kevin Lee, because we have seen that he gets tired, and we have seen that if he is forced to grapple defensively, that sometimes his cardio kind of gives out. But what an amazing performance. Not is another welterweight to be wary of. 20-fight win streak. I mean, if you think about it, the time Alexander Volkanovski reached the title, he was also on a 25 win streak. That might put this into perspective for you. Now, I don't know if they were fighting the same level of competition or whatnot. I would have to do more research on that. But guys, Rinat he's a big deal. He's a big deal in this division, and I would assume that he's gonna fight someone in the top 15 next. If we're talking about the top 15, why not just put him against the gatekeeper of the welterweight division, see where he's really at, put him against Neil Magny. To be honest, early predictions, I'm favoring him in that fight, but Neil Magny, he somehow just tends to pull it off. He tends to keep these contenders from rising to the top, unless you're a Shavkat Rakhmonov or a Khamzat Chimaev, which he would have found out, but he didn't find out. It's only really the truly exceptional that ever get past Neil Magny. I mean, even Philip Rowe, we thought he was going to be a big player in this welterweight division. He didn't get to do so. So I say put Rinat up against Neil Magny, and let's see how he goes from there. Where do you guys think he should go next? You guys are probably going to make the decisions before I do, right? They want to see what the fans want to see. We all want to see this. Pretty much the same things. I want to see how good this guy is. Who should he fight to tell us? So another standout performance was Nursultan, I believe that's how you say it, Nursultan Uziboev. He beat Bruno Ferreira in a devastating fashion, ended up catching one of his kicks, landing a cross right down the pipe, and finishing him with some devastating ground and pound. So there was a few undefeated people on this card. Bruno Ferreira was one of them. Michael Morales was another one, in which he had a good performance against Max Griffin. He looked like he was really feeling himself out there. But these undefeated guys, yes, they're undefeated, but at the same time, these are guys who still have holes in their games and who are still trying to patch everything up, but they're learning on the job. They're so talented and they're so powerful, explosive, and they have such a knack for fighting, right? And they're getting all these finishes early. They get this early opportunity at the UFC, and you can see that there's still work that needs to be done, but are they exceptional enough to still get the wins and still learn while on the job in the UFC, in the toughest promotion in the business, right? And you're seeing that it's not easy. And while Michael Morales ended up getting it done against Max Griffin, Bruno Ferreira could not. He ended up getting caught. He ended up losing. And now we're talking about Ruziboev being a top prospect in this division. Ruziboev is 6'5", just a giant for this middleweight division. He's a guy who's going to give a lot of people some problems. I don't know much about his background, but just from how composed he was and how willing to strike with the powerful, short, stocky 5'10" Bruno Ferreira, yeah, it opened, I guess, a lot of people's eyes in that regard. Benoit Saint Denis got that submission victory over Ismail Bonifim, and to be honest, it seemed like he really kind of dominated that fight. Ismail Bonifim was riding a lot of hype off that Terrence McKinney knockout, and he was good everywhere. He is still good everywhere, but this just goes to show you the level of competition people are fighting in the UFC and the skill level and the grappling of Benoit. So congratulations to Benoit. He is another player in this lightweight division. Excited to see where he goes from here on out. But maybe the biggest standout in the lightweight division, because there were a good amount of lightweight fights on this card, but Grant Dawson beat Damir Ismagulov. Now, I thought Damir was going to be retired after his last fight, after he lost to, I believe, Arman Saryukin. I thought he was retired. I didn't know that he was going to fight again. I thought he was having some medical issues that he needed to deal with. I guess he dealt with them. He ends up fighting Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson puts on an absolute grappling clinic, wrestling, grappling, his ability to take the back. He didn't get the finish, right? And it's hard to get the finish when you're locking in a body triangle. We've been over this on this channel. We know that the body triangle while it does hold the position very well, it's very hard to create the angles that you need in order to get the finish, unless you just go straight through their jaw and crank their neck until you could get the choke like that. You really have to have a lot of experience and time in that body triangle in order to really get the finish. I mean, we saw Islam Makhachev not be able to even get near a finish against Volk. We've seen time and time again that this body triangle, it's a hard thing to get the finish with. But Grant Dawson looked absolutely phenomenal. He just purely outclassed Damir. I don't even know if he got touched with a single shot in that fight. 3 rounds of grappling dominance. Grant Dawson, man, he said he either wants to fight Beneil Dariush, who has a high ranking, Tony Ferguson, who has a big name. Tony Ferguson, I believe, is fighting Bobby Green, so that fight isn't gonna happen, at least not right away. But I like where his head's at. He's calling his shots. He's demanding what he wants. I don't think he's gonna get that Beneil Dariush fight unless the UFC is just, oh man, if they're done with Beneil, I'm done with them. So please don't give him that fight. Okay, let him fight someone with a name who is actually gonna build him, so that he doesn't have to win 4 or 5 more in a row to get a title shot. Give him another name, someone in the boat of like a Michael Chandler or something like that. If he's not gonna get this fight with Conor McGregor, I think that'd be a super exciting fight. I think a lot of people will get excited for that, and I think that it'll build Beneil Dariush's name as well as the skill we already know he has. However, Grant Dawson, I do want to see him fight so not only in the top 15, because this was he fought the number 12 guy. He was number 15, so he's at number 12. Top 10 is next. Then it's top 5, and then we might be seeing this guy fight for a title, because he is just that good. Now, the lightweight division is one of the best in the world, and we already know that. So nothing is set in stone. However, a fight with Jalen Turner, that's something that turns me on. Jalen Turner's fighting Dan Hooker, maybe fighting the loser of that or the winner of that. That's a you know, that gets my rock hard right there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But moving on to the main event, Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. There was a narrative I was running with in this fight. I didn't know how good of a matchup this was for Sean. I didn't know how good of a fight this was for him. I thought he was making a big mistake in accepting it. He goes on, talks about afterwards how he was getting paid a lot of money for it. So okay, that is an extra incentive, right? But the fact that he was risking his ranking for a guy who had one fight in the UFC, who has a lot of experience outside of the UFC, almost won the PFL championship, a lot of background noise about him, a lot of people outside of the mainstream audience had the world to say about him, how he is a terror in the gym and he's a terror to everyone outside the UFC and things like this. And he is really good. The guy just gassed, and we hadn't seen it before. I've never seen him gas. I've never seen him wilt like that under pressure. I've never seen him in a 5-round fight, but I've also never seen him under those kind of bright lights like the UFC and in a small cage like the Apex. So it was there was a plethora of factors that could have enabled him to gas like that the way he did against Sean Strickland. But I think maybe the biggest or most notable was the fact that he was throwing everything hard in the first round, man. Now, while he was landing most of them, right, and they could have been doing damage and stuff like that, but the teeps, the push kicks, they do damage over time. They take away from your gas tank over time, and you don't want to be throwing them 100% every single time. You don't want to be throwing everything 100% every single time, and that just seemed like what he was doing. It seemed like Strickland kind of just forced the shots out of him by just walking forward and putting on some pressure. Strickland clearly lost that first round, but was able to continue that pressure into the second, make him wilt, and get the finish in devastating and kind of embarrassing fashion for Abus. Now, everything I thought would happen kind of did happen. He was using the push kicks, he was using the kick feints to set up his hands, or at least try and set up his hands. Sean Strickland did a good job of framing and not using a standard guard to block those overhands, but actually using more of a Muay Thai guard to catch him on the triceps and on his elbows and arms and things like that. And he did a good job of not letting anything really hit him clean to the head. There was a couple head kicks that were pretty close that, if they would have landed, could have changed the whole outcome of that fight, considering how hard they were being thrown. But he didn't let the push kicks deter him. That is something that is effective against his style of fighting, and that affected him in the Imavov fight. But the way he was able to just walk through everything, he knew that he had 5 rounds to fight. He knew that he never throws 100% into any of his shots anyways. It was only going to go one of two ways. Either Sean was going to get finished early by that early output and by Abus landing those early shots, or it was going to go the total opposite way and Sean was going to end up breaking him. I didn't think it was going to be that soon. I thought it would have to play out over 3 or 4 rounds before Abus really got tired like that. But Sean, he did what he did. And that's an exciting fight, guys. What he is suggesting, him fighting Israel Adesanya, is a very exciting fight. Now, there's a couple things I have to say about this, because I don't know if he is, matter of fact, I know he wouldn't be more deserving than one, Jared Cannonier, who just beat Marvin Vettori and Sean Strickland himself. 2, the winner of Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis. Robert Whittaker's undefeated against everyone who isn't named Israel Adesanya. Dricus du Plessis, if he wins this fight, just beat Robert Whittaker, the former champion, or the second best guy in the division. So I don't think Sean would be more deserving over either of those people. But if worst comes to worst, someone gets injured, he steps in against Whittaker or du Plessis, then there is a real case for him getting that next title shot. Other than that, man, honestly, he might have to be calling out Khamzat Chimaev. He might have to be calling out Jared Cannonier. Now, I know Khamzat Chimaev is going to fight on that Abu Dhabi card. Sean Strickland likes fighting in America. He lives in Vegas. He wants to fight in Vegas for the most part. But I wouldn't be opposed to him going to Abu Dhabi to fight a Khamzat Chimaev. Or Jared Cannonier already said he wants to fight a Khamzat Chimaev. Whoever fights Khamzat Chimaev in Abu Dhabi at 185, since that's where he's fighting, is probably going to be next. Unless Jared Cannonier and Sean Strickland decide to fight again for a rematch, which I don't think is really gonna happen. That's kind of how I see this division playing out. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Where does Sean Strickland go from here on out? Where does Abus go from here on out? It's a big task to have a main event under those bright lights in the biggest promotion in the world in your second fight in the promotion. It's different from the PFL, it's different from KSW, as he probably realizes now. But Abus has a bright future still. Abus Magomedov is still a player in this division. He's still a very powerful and terrifying guy to go against. He just threw out too much too soon. We'll see how he adjusts from here on out. But guys, with that being said, thank you for stopping by my video today. Thank you for watching Nwadei MMA, the recap of Abus Magomedov versus Sean Strickland. Comment down below your thoughts. Thank you guys for liking this video. If you really like this video, you can go ahead and support my channel by giving this a super thanks. You're going to be seeing some more footage of more day in the life documentary videos coming out in the future. I got a couple things coming out which I really think you guys are gonna like. But if you guys like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe as well. With that being said, y'all stay safe, stay blessed as usual. Peace.